Hey guys, Happy New Year's, I'm back. So this video, I want to make it a sort of a recap of 2019, resolutions for 2020, sort of like I did last year. I think last year I did them like separate videos, but this year I want to just do it all in one, kind of just more like a conversation. Hello. So I'm going to post this here, but then I'll also upload it onto my YouTube. So if you're on YouTube watching this and I'm saying hello to random people, it's the live comments. So yeah, I don't know why. I get really nervous when I get live. I'm like trying to get more comfortable with it, and I had all these ideas. I'm like, I'm going to say this, this, and this. And then the moment I stand in here, I'm like, ugh. It's like my body's like, ugh. So every year I try to come up with like goals and you know, everybody does that. New Year's resolutions, New Year, New Me, all of that stuff, right? And over the last few years, what I've done is, rather than said, I've had like very specific goals, and then I've also had more like an intention for the year, sort of like what to focus on throughout the year, what are some of the things to like keep in mind as I want to grow through the year. And then, so like last year I have my little planner that I had. It's like a really cool planner. This year I got a new one, and both me and Mr. Tony Ray are doing it. This is a really cool one. And so I'm kind of going over last year, and I gotta say, 2019 sucked. Like, it was just a weird year. It was just like, obviously from like day one, it was like bad, and that attention of that badness kind of stuck with us for like a whole month of like having to deal with this and having to deal with this, and it kind of started off late or behind. Even like my reading plan for last year, like I started on the 20th. I didn't even realize that at the end of this year. I'm like, why do I still have 20 more days? And I'm like, oh, I'm behind. Like, the whole year has been like a big game of like catch up. Like, okay, we got this. We're back on routine. We're good. And then whoop, that thing happens. And then whoop, another thing happens. And then whoop, another thing happens. And it's just an exhausting year. By the end of the year, I was kind of like, I don't even want to make any plans. Like, I don't want to put any pressure on myself for anything. And you know, that's just like how my brain was kind of like, ugh, I'm tired. And then it's just weird because like I see all the different posts like on Facebook and on here, and like that's what everyone's talking about. Like everyone's like, 2019 kicked my ass, and 2019 was this and this and that, and nobody seemed very happy about 2019. And it's kind of hard like to be motivational and think like positive stuff, and then to think like, but life's kind of hard right now. Like, it's hard for everyone. Everyone's struggling. There's just so much going on. There are so many people being affected in so many ways. And your personal life, have shit going on. It's just hard, right? And so, like, I look back and I had goals. Like, I had goals to hit my weight, and I didn't. I gained weight. I had goals for, like, specific books I was going to finish reading, and I didn't finish them. Just a lot of things that I had set out to do that I couldn't do. And it wasn't so much like I was just lazy and didn't feel like doing it. It's just my routine changed so often that I had a hard time figuring out how to actually make those things fit into my life. And that's the thing about goals, right? Like, it's one thing to say, I'm going to do this every single day. It's another thing to think about whether or not it's something that's achievable and real for you. And the whole SMART goal thing, a huge part of it is this a goal that's realistic, reachable, achievable, attainable for you? Because when it's not, you're not going to be able to do it. Like, it doesn't matter how much, like, woo, I got, power, and I got this, and I got strength, and I'm a badass. If something's not attainable, it's just, you're not going to do it. And then you're just going to feel like crap, and then you're not going to do the next thing, because now you feel like crap. Now that thing, maybe you could have done, but now you're just not feeling motivated, so then you give up, and then, so this year, I think, rather than focusing on, like, specific goals that can be so highly affected by circumstance, I want to, more than anything, just kind of keep up with my sanity and just do the things I have to do that I know I'm able to do, and keep track of the things that I can't do, and figure out how to address things in a different way. Last year, what I put down, like, I wanted to have faith. Something I wanted to work on was my confidence. I wanted to prioritize seeking God first in everything that I did. Just maintaining a lot of the growth that I've had. And prioritizing relationships. So when I look at start with the big picture kind of goals. I don't know if you can see them. I did a whole web. I did a really good job. Like, this was a year that, like, there was a lot of times where I could not do anything about what was going on. It had nothing to do with me. I didn't have power, and I'm like somebody who, like, I'm a control freak. I like to take over, I like to fix things, and couldn't, because it wasn't my thing to fix. I had to just let go and let God take over, and I was able to do it, which is hard because, like, I didn't, in the past, like, I understood that that's what I'm supposed to do, but no, I kind of just, I needed to fix things, and this year I couldn't. This year I was tired. Like, I've been so tired this year, like, tired, like, physically exhausted, mentally foggy. A lot of my mental health issues and health issues kind of, like, flared up this year, like, really struggled with staying balanced throughout the day, like, just on a daily basis, like, getting up, getting on my desk was a hard task. So the fact that I just let myself do just that and not put all of my focus and energy into this and that and trying to do all these other things was really helpful. I was able to kind of just, like, I let God take over, especially with a lot of the things that we couldn't, like, okay, like, when I broke my arm, right, like, I couldn't do anything. Like, for a few weeks there, I was so frustrated. I could not freaking do anything. I was so mad. And, but I had to just kind of, oh, well, can't do anything. Like, things will be fine, you know? And then, just things like that, a lot of decisions, I'm like, well, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it doesn't happen, that's probably not what God wanted for me. And so then I was able to kind of let go of the idea that I could, like, so should I reach out to that person again, or should I try to talk to this person, or should I try to convince this person, or what should I do, or should I start doing this, or nah, if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know, like, it allowed me to really do that, to just kind of let go and let it be. As far as prioritizing relationships, I feel like I did a really good job of that this year. I have built up, part of prioritizing my relationships was actually deciding, like, who I wanted to have a relationship with and who was willing to expend energy on. Because, like, the year before that, I talked a lot about boundaries, and I was learning about, like, what's healthy, what's not, and oh my god, I had a lot of unhealthy boundaries. Duh. Like, I was like, like, I was trying so hard to keep certain relationships that weren't flourishing, that there was no fruits coming from them. Like, people who, you know, like, you put a lot of energy and they don't care, or they don't want to be in a relationship with you, so why am I putting all of my energy and all of my focus on people who don't want a relationship, or worrying about people who want a negative type of relationship where they're going to break boundaries? So this year, I was able to kind of know, like, I want to be friends with this person, and that's who I'm going to hang out with, and that's who I'm going to check in with, and that's whose life I want to be aware of, and that's who I want to just be with. Like, I want to hang out with them, I want to have coffee with them, I want to share my life with them and be more personal and more real with. And I was able to do that, and I'm really happy about that, because I've seen those relationships grow and flourish, and it's part of, like, some of the other parts of what I wanted to work on was, like, increasing my confidence, right? It's hard to do that. Hello. It's hard to do that when you don't have people you feel confidence with, like, right? Like, if you don't trust the people in your life, if you don't feel like you have relationships where you can be your authentic self, where you're safe, loved, cared for, and they're not going to treat you bad, Happy New Year, like, then you're not going to be yourself, and you're not going to have confidence in when you can't be yourself, right? So the fact that I was able to prioritize my relationships, and then a lot of the times this year, part of why I think I struggled with so many of my smaller goals was that I prioritized, like, no, we're going to go to the family event, we're going to go do this thing, we're going to see people on the weekends, we're going to hang out with friends, we're going to put effort towards the people in our life that matter. And for me, that's really hard, because I'm like a hermit, stay indoors, talk to people online kind of person. And instead this year, I was like, no, I'm going to put myself out of that comfort zone, and it's paid off a lot. Like, it's been a really good time, I guess. It's been really helpful and really positive. Something just fell off the wall. And then into that increasing confidence. So, okay, I was trying to talk to Tony about this and explain that, like, I think a lot of times people think confidence is, like, showing up, like, I'm a badass, that kind of stuff. But I think for me, a big part was just really trying to understand, like, what I can be confident in myself and what I can't. And over the years, especially struggling with mental health, like, you kind of fall into this life where, like, you think that everything is wrong. Like, I'm feeling this way, there's something wrong with me, I'm feeling this way because there's something wrong with me. So how do I fix this thing that's wrong with me? Instead of recognizing that maybe I have a reason to feel that way. Like maybe the reason I'm sad is because there's something to be sad about. Maybe the reason that I'm tired is because there's something to be tired about. And I think being able to really step away from that idea that like I have to fix myself and more stepping into like who am I and what do I want to be? Who am I okay with being, and screw what others think. Like who am I comfortable being? Sorry. Just having that knowledge of myself, I think gives me like something to stand on, right? And over the last few weeks, I've been learning a lot about like maybe the things that I thought were things that were weird or that I shouldn't do, that were wrong, or that I was doing only because I'm anxious, are just part of who I am. And if they're not bad things and they don't hurt people and they help me, then why am I trying so hard to change them and spending so much energy trying to change who I am rather than spending time accepting who I am? Because when you accept yourself and you just allow yourself to be, then you're able to just step into a room and not be afraid of what's going to happen next, and not be afraid of like, oh my God, if I do the wrong thing, people are going to judge me or they're going to treat me this way. And it also helps me with that, the relationships part, because then I'm able to kind of be like, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is how I connect with the world. If you're not okay with it and you're going to have an issue with it, even though it doesn't affect you, then maybe you're not somebody who I need to prioritize in a relationship with. So they all kind of fit in, and a lot of that is just letting God kind of guide me of like, is this right or wrong? So I'd be looking something up, and then it's like, I follow a lot of pages that talk about a ton of stuff like this, and doing research and reading and kind of understanding people's experience and be like, oh my God, I'm not the only person struggling with this. I'm not the only person who's had this issue. I'm not the only person who's overcome this issue. I think support groups are freaking amazing. You guys should join as many as you can, because it makes a big difference to be like connected with other real people who experience what you experience, you know? So yeah, a lot of that stuff. As far as maintenance, last year I struggled a lot with like my eating. And it's like, but I'm glad because I still maintain, like I still have my breakfast every morning. I still have those habits of like eating meals at a certain time, having specific types of foods. It's not like I'm like, I hate vegetables. I'm eating vegetables. Taking my vitamins, that kind of stuff. Like I've been able to maintain the healthy habits. My problem is really just eating too many chips. So that's something that I want to work on next year. It's just more managing my compulsions to binge eat. It's something they've lessened a lot over the last few years, but there's still an issue, obviously, because I'm a smaller person. Any deviation, I end up gaining a bunch of weight. So, turning into this year, I mean, I wanted to like look back at 2019 and be like, I sucked. I didn't hit this goal, and I didn't hit that goal, and I didn't do this, and I didn't do that. And then I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, but I kept the focus, or I wanted the focus to be. I feel right about the decisions that I made, and I feel like the only reason I'm worried or anxious about having not hit certain goals is more because like, what will people think, or how will people judge me, or what will that make them think about my ability to do blah 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 blah. But you know what? I stuck with the things I wanted to stick to. I stuck with my convictions. I stuck with my values. And I had so many decisions this year where I could have made decisions that were not in line with who I am. And I feel like God gave me so many opportunities where I could have just kept kind of falling back into myself and not allowing myself to expand. And I didn't. And I think that's good, because that's going to give me the strength to remember, like, you got this, you can continue. So, bye-bye 2019. 2020, okay, this is a really cool, okay, we weren't even going to use a planner. I was just going to be like, I'm going to stick with, like, writing on a notebook. I got, like, a million calendars all over the place. I got them at the bank. Cut them up and, like, put stickers on them all over the world. But then I saw this in my feed, and I wasn't even looking for it. And the moment you click on an ad, you know how, like, suddenly every single ad you have is that specific thing. And well, I just saw this one and I really liked it because it had a daily tracker on it where you can every week type in what are the things you want to work on and then check whether or not you did them. Let me try to show it to you. Can you see that? It's really cool. And then it obviously has like the planning for the week, but it has weekly sermon notes. So So it's kind of cool because like I have a whole other notebook to write what I wrote in at church, and this gives me a whole section where like every week I have to think about and reflect about the things that I want to think about. Like it says for me, for God, for others, and it brings me back to that specific like you had a bad week or like life is sucky or something bad happened. How can you bring this back to like you have power over the situation, you have power over how you control how you live in this world, and allowing God to take over. How will you let that happen this week? So I really like that. And then like Tony and I went over and created our goals, and it allows me to put in like my daily goals, my 1 times a week goals, a few times a month, times a year, and specific 2020 goals. We even have a whole section for like a vision board, which we're going to do later today. So that'd be cool. And a bucket list. I like those kind of things. I like having the ability to have those things in the place that I want them and need them so that I can look back at them. I think it's good for you guys to do these kind of things often. Like every week you should be having like, what am I focusing on this week? Every month, every year, every quarter, etc. So some of the specific goals that I do want to share for the week, for the year, will be to do my life Bible reading daily, Monday through Friday, every week. That's something that I feel very, very, feel like it's most specific and measurable. I can know whether or not I did it. It's attainable and reachable. I can do it. I know I can. It's more of a matter of like feeling anxious throughout it. So don't judge me if I come on without makeup and a sweater, because that's how I dress most days. That's probably what I'll look like during those. And I would really like the accountability from you guys. And I hope that it becomes something that has like purpose. So yeah. And then I'm going to commit to filling this out every single week. So I know I can do that. I know I'm able to write my notes for the week, and it's something that I like having as a kind of like a weekly timed, like do this, come back to earth kind of moments. I'm going to commit to tracking my binge eating. So rather than be like, you can't eat chips all year, I know what's realistic and what's not, and what's not going to be healthy for me. As far as it's like I know how to eat healthy, but it doesn't matter if you can eat healthy if you are still having and exhibiting compulsive behaviors that are affecting the way you are relating to food. So if you have a negative relationship to food, you can force yourself to eat healthy for a certain amount of time, but then what happens the moment life sucks and you can't? Like, you're gonna choose the thing that gives you the relief, not the thing that is best for you. So this year I just want to kind of focus on just paying attention to when I fall into those habits. And then that way I can actually have information of how to address it versus focusing on don't eat bad, and because I know I can eat good. The issue is more what is the relationship between me and that decision, the thoughts, emotions, behavior, etc. And then something that we've decided, so I'm going to commit to weighing myself every week without having a goal weight. So I know for a lot of people it's very helpful to have a goal weight. For a lot of people it's helpful to weigh themselves weekly, daily. I'm going to commit to just knowing what my weight is, just so that I can have a kind of understanding how what I'm doing is affecting me and where I'm at, but not so that I can feel shame and guilty and then be like, oh, I can't do this. And yeah, so those are the specific goals. Obviously I got my daily stuff I got to stick to. I think the rest of my stuff that I've put out are things that I've been able to commit to doing over the last few years, and that's all I want, is to just continue doing those things. And yeah, as far as this page, I'm going to continue doing my posts. I'm going to try to experiment a little bit with doing voice posts and video posts, and just focus still just on that motivational aspect of like realism, right? Because like, yeah, there's a lot of motivational content on Instagram. If you guys read my posts, you'll notice that I am, for the most part, I focus a lot on what's realistic, what's not realistic, and kind of giving you guys like a tough love look at like, yeah, like, you can do this, but what are you doing to do this? And how are you actually going to put in the work to do this? And it's what's helped me. And I know that it's not always the fluffy sounding stuff that like people want to hear, but it's what you need to hear. And I really hope that this year I'm able to reach a little bit more deeply into people's specific steps and into the decisions that they make, so that they're able to move forward and actually see results. I'm really excited about the people I've worked with over the years. Seeing people put that into action and they having amazing results is just so cool. And so I know that when I get into a really deep conversation with someone, I'm able to explain things way more individually, I guess. And so I'm gonna try to do that with my posts, where I I wanted you guys to be able to see that and apply it to your lives. So yeah, I'm excited for 2020, not because it's the new year. Just, it's just another opportunity to continue. And we're blessed to have this ability and to have time and people to connect with and we live in such a cool time, right? Like, well, you can connect with, like, all of y'all are from, like, all sorts of places. I don't know any of you in real life. A lot of the times I'm talking to people and have built relationships with people that I'm like other parts of the country or other parts of the world, and we have so many opportunities to both affect our lives and the world around us. So think of 2020 as a way of just continuing that and seeing it in the positive light that it is versus letting it bog you down like, oh my god, we're starting a new decade. Like, nah, technically, saw a meme yesterday that was like, technically the decade ends at the end of 2020. So, thank you guys so much for watching this. I'm going to post this on my YouTube after this, and I'm also going to send out a newsletter later on this week. So, I'll get back to putting out my rest of my self series and other blog posts. Start sending me ideas of what you guys want to talk about, what you want to know about. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Be blessed, and yeah, Happy New Year. Goodbye.